Sorry about that. All right, how about now? Everything's good? I think it should be good. Give me an okay or a yay or an A. How about now? All right, good. All right. Sorry about that. I had the uh, I had the mic on mute. It happens. So basically, what I was saying, I'll repeat it, was the reason we have the link to click through is because Facebook, I guess, they're the only ones that limit the ability to just automatically allow your name to pass through into the main chat area. So the chat area is it's a restreaming. It's a new restream setup. That's why I'm kind of fumbling around a little bit with things at the moment. Um, but so with clicking that link, it allows everybody to so I can see their names in the main chat window here, which is fantastic. All right, so the things I want to cover this evening are having to do with I want to get people's thoughts on this whole January 6th commission thing. I don't know if folks have seen that already or they're aware of it. This stuff seems to come out of nowhere all of a sudden. It's like 1 minute, you hear a little bit of whisper about it, but then all of a sudden now they're in Congress having a hearing, which is kind of bizarre. So I wanted to first play a little video, and I think I'm going to be okay to do this as long as I put the disclaimer in that this is only for educational purposes only. It's not for anything other than that. Not making any money off of this, any doing these videos or anything like that. So this is simply for educational purposes, and hopefully falls under the Fair Use Act. Let's just see here. So let me switch over to the browser. Why is that doing that? Okay. Sorry, I got to fix that. Video. Browser. Let's see. Window. It's grabbing the wrong window. All right, here we go. You guys can see the video, see the browser and the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little clip, 5-minute clip from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know if you folks know who she is. She's a representative from Georgia. She's a newcomer to Congress and a patriot and very intelligent woman. And she brings out some good arguments against what's going on with this whole thing. So let's play this and kind of talk about it afterwards here. If I can get that window to show again. Hold on. Here we go.
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for up to 5 minutes and advise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the commission to study the events of January 6th, as well as spending $2 billion in security supplemental. The question that comes to mind is this: what about all the riots that happened during the summer of 2020 after the death of George Floyd? What about all the damage caused to federal buildings, churches, people's businesses, and innocent people that were killed, like David Dorn? This past summer, Minneapolis city officials estimate 700 buildings were damaged, burned, or destroyed, including 360 local businesses. Riots caused an estimated $55 million in damages in Minneapolis alone. BLM and Antifa established an autonomous zone in Seattle and attempted to burn government buildings in Portland. Is that not an insurrection? On one Friday night alone in New York City, BLM protesters caused over $100,000 in damages and 150 people were arrested. Just one Monday night in Philadelphia resulted in a crowd of 1,000 people looting stores, setting fires in the middle of the street, and 30 police officers injured. Protests in Kansas City resulted in $2.1 million in damages, mostly over the course of one weekend. Several officers were injured as well. Protests in Wichita, Kansas cost the police department about $1.5 million in overtime. Protests in Salt Lake City cost at least $100,000 in damages. Protests in Denver cost the city at least $5.5 million in damages and overtime. BLM protests in Nashville set a federal courthouse on fire. The destruction is estimated to have cost $1.2 million in damages. Again, is that an insurrection? Protesters in Portland destroyed barriers and attempted to burn down government buildings, resulting in $2.3 million in damages, including $1.6 million in damages to the courthouse downtown. In St. Louis, following the night of violence, buildings were looted, vandalized, and burned. Protesters in Louisville set the courthouse on fire and shot 2 cops, resulting in a state of emergency ordered being declared. Protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, injured. Police officers set off fireworks near the building and courthouse and set at least 2 city trucks on fire. In Guilford County, North Carolina, a courthouse was broken into, set on fire, resulting in roughly $200,000 in damages. Protests in Oakland, California, resulted in a courthouse being set on fire and vandalized. The LAPD was defunded by $150 million, and some smaller crime units were eliminated entirely. Studies show 570 protests in 220 U.S. locations turned violent over the summer. Are those not insurrections? The $1+ billion in riot damage is estimated to be the most expensive in insurance history. It resulted in up to $2 billion of damages in 20 cities across the US, mostly concentrated in LA, Detroit, Miami, DC, and New York. Indeed, we should have a commission to study the violent BLM and Antifa mobs that have plagued American cities this past summer. And that's for the American people who, by the way, pay the taxes that fund everything we do here. Also, we should have a security supplemental to fund all the police departments that have been defunded due to the pressure from radical, violent, and socialist groups. We should back the blue because they certainly back us. Also, while it's catch and release for domestic terrorists, Antifa, BLM, the people who breached the Capitol on January 6th are being abused, some even being held for 23 hours a day in solitary confinement. So, Mr. Speaker, my questions are this. Who placed the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC, which is an attack on both Republicans and Democrats? Why was President Trump's request on January 5th for 10,000 National Guard denied? And who denied it? And what chain of command did they follow? Also, who killed Ashley Babbitt? And why is that not being revealed? Does her family not deserve justice? And lastly, when will the witch hunt of Donald J. Trump come to an end and all of those who support him? I rest my time.
Gentlewoman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Burchett, for 5 minutes.
And here you go. You see this little device right here? Well, I'm going to show you something right now. Now, some people are rightfully concerned.
I did it again. Sorry, folks. All right, so I had it off when the video was on. But all right, so what did you think about that? I mean, basically, it just talked about. No, I'm actually on now. Can you hear me? Let's see. Maybe I have to switch. How about now? How's that? Hello, test, test. Let me know if you can hear me. Can folks hear me? Hello? Huh. Okay, good. All right. I just needed one confirmation there. All right. So basically, she just described all the damage and all the true insurrection that happened over the summer prior. And yeah, so she had, I don't know what's going on with the sound because it did come back. I mean, I switched on and people weren't responding right away. So I don't know if there's a delay or what's going on. But anyway, so yeah, she described, millions and billions of dollars of damage that Antifa and the Black Lives Matter groups did to all the cities with no real investigation, or there was obviously no commission assigned to investigate any of that, because as we know, everything is, if it doesn't follow a certain agenda, it's not going to get investigated, unfortunately. So, yeah, so now they're putting together, I think she was saying that this is going to be another $2 billion spent to investigate something that's just dead obvious what happened, right? I mean, I have already done several videos on, my take, and I will admit, yes, I was there. There was no, when I was there, I'll tell you what, the people that I saw were all very peaceful. Let me bring you to the website real quick. So we have these previous interviews that I've done, at the time of the so-called insurrection. It really wasn't an insurrection. There was a lot of weird stuff that happened there. I actually explained my full story in this first one here, which is on 1028 Live out of White Mountains in Arizona. Doc Skinner's show. He had me on there. We were talking about that with Paula Asteria, and then it was on her show. And then again on Doc's show, we talked about, we kept talking about all the details and things that happened there. I can give a brief overview of what I saw and the way that I saw things go down, just so that I don't know, maybe some of the folks on here haven't heard my story yet. Let me. Actually, I didn't switch over to the browser. All right, so this is a place where you can find the videos on the website. So if you go to getesoteric.com/video logs, you'll see the videos here. This is the first one. This here is the second one, and this is the third one. So we actually spent a lot of time going over all the details and discussing back and forth what's going on with that. So my gist of it was, if I could kind of summarize the story, was that this was not some kind of planned insurrection. There was no weirdness going on like that at all that day. It was a lot of families, kids, and just people just standing in solidarity against this whole idea of the election fraud that we all witnessed. If you watched all of the hearings, you knew what was going on. And even today, you see all the deep investigation going on with that. So I think it has something to do. This pulling out this commission has something to do with distracting all the attention away from what's going on with these audits. So that's just my thought and my feeling on it. So from my experience, all I saw was a bunch of patriots holding signs, and I did see some weird stuff go on. So when I showed up at the Capitol, and everybody knew this was a march to the Capitol, so I don't know why they weren't there was no planning, or there was no real police presence there or anything like that. I mean, you had maybe 2 or 3 cops at the end there, in front of the Capitol, that I could see. And I was one of the first probably 300 people to get down there. I headed down kind of early because I wanted to avoid all the massive crowd, walking down the street. So I just got there on the front, following all the other people who are walking up onto the front lawn there and just holding flags and talking to each other and just having a good time. So we were just standing there talking, and people started coming more and more, and no one was rushing or threatening or doing anything like that. And you had a couple of police officers running up and down the stairs of the Capitol for God knows what reason, and it looks like they were positioning themselves in certain places, and all of a sudden they start firing like cannons overhead, flashbang grenades, and then they started, spraying mace on some of the people in the front. And it was like the people that were up front, it seemed like they were like placed there for a specific purpose. And there was people strategically placed in the crowds trying to get people to move up, trying to get people to rush the Capitol. And no one was like listening to them. They're like, you turn around and you look at them, you go, well, if you want to go, go, but they didn't move. They stayed in their position. So you knew that they were planted in the crowd to try and get people to move forward. Because if they really wanted to move forward, there was plenty of room for them to do so. And there was no one blocking their path or blocking their way to do that. If they wanted to do it, they could have done it. And so that's how they had operatives there, people that were, set up to try and, cause trouble. And to me, it felt like, I don't know, it almost felt like, we knew that if we were there long enough that, in front of the Capitol, that Antifa would start showing up. And you hear all these stories about people being bussed in and let in, to these crowds from God knows where. And we don't know who they were necessarily. Also, the guy on the bullhorn, or the speaker microphone thing that you use to speak to a crowd, he was already at the top of this podium area where I guess they would film the inauguration or whatever, right? And yeah, the live action role players, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Let me put that one in. Yeah, so that's exactly what it was. So you had um, these people that seemed to be hired to be there, and the guy on the bullhorn was doing nothing but saying, "Oh, it's now is your time to rush the Capitol, this and that." We're like, "What are you talking about? Like, we're not here to do that." We're all like rolling our eyes at these people. And then the guys with the helmets came in. Like, who brings the helmet to a peaceful rally? And we've had hundreds of these rallies, these Trump rallies, and not one incident. There was no violence, and there's no reason for that. So the only reason that this went down the way that it did is obviously because it looks like a bogus banner, right? I mean, that's what I feel, you know. And I have to use that term. I can't use the other term, or I'll get booted off here, unfortunately. But and I'll do a lot of that as we're going through talking about this. So, and then I noticed the guys with the helmets on, and they came through. They walked right past me, and I was like kind of like central on the lawn, and I stayed away from the Capitol. I didn't want to get anywhere near there. I didn't, want to be involved in anything that looked like it could even be, illegal or breaching some kind of a barrier. But there really wasn't any major barriers there at all. And in fact, later on, I found out after people went in, and I had already left by then, because all the people in the front that I was standing with knew nothing about what was going on in the Capitol. They didn't even know anyone was inside the building. But it turns out that the guys with the helmets and the little camera on top of the head were the guys trying to bash in the window on the side. So they came in with a purpose, and that was to do that damage. Whether they were, it doesn't matter who they are. They're the ones that should, get into trouble. But it's like what I think this is if this was knowing that there was going to be this many people there, there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't have had a strong police presence there, guarding the entire perimeter of that building. They have high barricades they could have set up, all kinds of things, but it was refused time and time again. Trump actually requested 10,000 troops to be there, and he was rejected multiple times. That was one of the things that she talked about, was that he did ask for those things, and they were rejected. And and nobody knows who rejected it, or nobody knows who shot Ashley Babbitt or any of these things. Like, oh, it's all just a mystery. We're supposed to believe that it's all up and on the up and up, right? I don't think so. So, having said that, I'm not sure I have a problem with a commission, as long as we're not spending $2 billion for one thing. I don't know what you're going to spend $10 billion on, unless they're also having sounds like they set the scene for a fall. Yep, I can't say that term, but yep, absolutely. That's what I think it was too. Um, I really do. I mean, it just looked like that. I had that feeling in my soul when I was there, witnessing everything. And the people that I picked out, like that really rubbed me the wrong way. The guy, with no shirt on, with the actual real bull horns on the head. Uh, I don't know. It seems odd that you have a guy with a bullhorn, one of those voice bullhorns, up on the podium. So when you're trying to describe it, like who you're talking about, everyone thinks it's the guy with the bullhorns on, the actual physical bullhorns. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the guy that was there before everybody, egging everyone on. But so yeah, I mean, it felt peaceful, like everybody was having a good time, and it was just, we thought we were all supposed to be there. We thought that's what this march was for. It's to march to the Capitol and stand and hold a flag, and that's pretty much what 99.9% of the people did. And then you saw the videos. I don't know if you guys saw the videos of them letting people in the side door. They just opened the doors and let people in, and people were calmly walking in. Most of the people, except for the ones that I felt were already up front trying to cause trouble by breaking in. And anytime someone did that, they would yell "Antifa, Antifa." That's in the videos I saw. I wasn't actually there to witness that part because I was too far up front. I wasn't actually, rummaging around the sides or anything. I didn't bother doing any of that. But anyway, so yeah, so they are in Congress now having a hearing about this.
About a second ago, people from all around the world are trying to get in here, and almost nobody ever wants to leave. So when it really comes to saying it's bad, no one wants to leave. But the whole rest of the world tries to come here, be it from Africa, be it from Latin America, be it from.
Okay, I don't know what he's talking about, but it doesn't sound like he's talking about the topic at hand here. With the debate on January 6th Commission, but there was some good discussion earlier on that. So, how do people feel about having an investigation? I don't have a problem with having an investigation as long as it's a fair, nonpartisan investigation that we're actually looking at both sides of the coin. Like we're looking at investigating, who shot Ashley Babbitt and why. We have video of a gun, obviously, being taken out and shot. And no one was armed. There was no real threat there at all from the people that were inside that building. In fact, when they walked in, you see videos of people. There was a rope like thing on both sides, and they're like staying within the lines and being really filing in an orderly fashion, and there was no any kind of like real violence going on there. It was just a patriotic stance, minus some of few loudmouths that were, I think, Antifa, in my opinion. Some of them were also dressed in black. But it's like anything like this. You got to prove it, and how do you prove it if certain individuals are involved in it? So let's see. So yeah, I mean, so I wanted to just go over this one more time for the folks that are signed in on the GetEsoteric group. When we actually stream here, every time I stream, I'm going to have the instructions up here for how to do the chat pass through, which you only have to do once again. But then if you want to come in and you want to actually talk, or you don't have to do video, you can just come in audio only or whatever you want to do. If you want to actually chat direct or chat within the chat, that's fine. If you want to just type your thoughts and feelings, or want to prompt for different parts of the conversation, you can just type in there, or you can click this link right here. And what this will do is it'll bring you to let me show you what that does. Just brings you to a little prompt here, and this is the live studio where you can actually, of course, that's going to do the infinity thing because I'm the one doing it. But if you click on the join stream here, you can put your name in there, and then I'll know who you are, and then I can either let you in or reject you depending upon who you are. So let's see. Oh, it looks like they're all done with the live hearing there, so that's all set. But anyway, so I wanted to cover that and get your thoughts on it. How do you feel about this idea of a joint commission on January 6th. I'll wait for a response if I can, if folks are interested in answering that question. Because I think it could, it could go either way, right? It could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. Sounds like you're, yep, okay. All right, well, I guess we can move on to the next topic if folks don't have any questions or comments on that, or thoughts about whether it's a good thing, bad thing. I think it's just all part of a game, a distraction, to be honest with you. Make sure I have everything here. All right, so like a lot of people are talking about this whole vaccine passport thing, right? So let me go back to the main here. Yeah, they're talking about this vaccine passport, which is totally unconstitutional because not everybody can get the vaccine, um, and not everybody's going to want to get the vaccine. And we live in a free country, so we shouldn't actually require something like that. What people are doing now is they're trying to get what's called a fake V card. I'm kind of call it a V card because I can't use that term too much. And you can actually, they're actually setting up some pretty steep penalties for anyone who tries to fake, the fact that they got the vaccine or not. So I don't know what's going to happen with traveling. I'm afraid to even set up any kind of traveling this summer because I don't know if I'm going to be able to travel. I live in a blue state, Massachusetts, and I don't know what their travel restrictions are going to be with this. It's kind of leaving us out there, to fend for ourselves. Um, and I just was out to dinner, and sometimes I'll sit at the bar and just order dinner, and I don't drink, but um, and I just listen to people's conversations, or I'll strike up a conversation with someone, and this woman was like talking about how she's afraid to, like, now I have my vaccine, and I'm afraid that I won't know if other people. I don't know if other people have their vaccine. I'm thinking, well, if you really believe in the science of it, and you believe that it's going to work, why do you care what other people are doing? If you think it works, then you're protected, right? It's the same argument I always had, even with the flu shot. Yeah, I agree. I hope not. You know, but with this presidency with being more like communist style, dictatorship, who knows what they're going to try to do? You know, you hear all these things about potential forced vaccinations. Looking at Canada as an example, right? You look at Canada, like some of the things people are saying are going on up there, unbelievable. Like people can't even like talk about owning weapons or anything like that on social media. They think everyone's a terrorist, so they go and visit them and harass them until they, I don't know, they're trying to scare them, and they're supposed to be a free people just like us. They have their own constitution, and who knows what will happen with that. But don't buy a fake vaccination card because I think you'll get yourself into trouble. Better to try to fight it, other ways. Um, does anybody know people that are being forced to get it, or lose their job or not be able to go to school, things like that? That to me should be illegal, in my opinion. Yeah, this is true. This is a very good. That's a very good point. So, the hospitality industry, after the wake of the pandemic, can't afford to lose potential travelers. Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering how they're going to be able to balance that because it's only like I think they're saying it's under 50% of the population interested in getting the vaccination, which is pretty bad because I think they wanted to do a minimum of 70%, right? That was their goal. So I don't think they're going to meet it. Yeah. Well, for example, I work in healthcare, and you know, I think that they have the right idea, and their heart is in the right place. But I think they, even with the flu shot, it's kind of like a battle to prove. Like for me, I have a reaction to the flu shot. I have to actually go and get all the documentation, make sure that I can get a letter from the doctor or whatever to avoid it. But that's the only exemption. There's no more religious exemption. There's no philosophical exemption. There's nothing. It's only if you have some kind of major reaction to it. So far, I haven't had to do it. They haven't tried to force us to do it, but it was either get the shot or you lose your job. That's basically it. Yeah. Let's say, throw their ideas to the wall. Actually, yeah, this is a good point. Yep. Arrogance of the deep state is that they tend to throw their ideas to the wall, see if it'll stick, right? And not the actuality of the ramifications. Yeah, they're not even thinking about that at all. They don't. They don't think that far ahead. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's that they. Maybe they just don't care. You know. Um, then you got Mr. B, which I'm gonna have to say it that way, up there saying things like, get the V or wear a mask forever, basically, which is ridiculous. You know. And I heard some rumors going around that they're linking Mr. F, if you want to say it that way, to the laboratory in a certain country, and something to do with money and money being transferred there, and certain types of research. I could say gain of function research. I'll say that. Hopefully, people are understanding or catching the gist of what I'm saying there. So they're making links there too, and this is why I think they're really going hard after this whole, January 6th redirect. Any redirect they can away from all of the things that they're doing, you know, is what I think is going on right now. Let's see what else we got here. I think the MSM is making a threat of the forced vaccination something we will resign to. Yeah, even though it's a hollow threat. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know how they can do that and get away with it in this country. I mean, if it gets to that point, I think we're going to have a revolution in this country. I think people are just sick and tired of it. People are already like taking their kids out of school if they are against the idea of an experimental vaccination for their kids. And it is experimental. Everybody knows it's not FDA approved. And when you tell people that, they're so surprised. They still are so surprised. They don't even look into it. Like, well, wait a minute. The FDA, this is FDA approved. No, it isn't. It's approved for emergency use authorization. Period. That's it. That just means that someone, sort of lightened up the regulations a little bit enough for people, and because the science apparently is, the scientists think it's going to be okay, but I think there could be obviously some ramifications for certain people. We're already seeing that with blood clots and other things like that. So who knows what the outcome of this is going to be? Exactly, distract. Yep, I totally agree. Yep. So let's see. Yeah, people being scared about other people not getting the vaccines makes no sense to me. Sometimes think that these might be operatives just going out there to kind of try to brainwash people into thinking that way. All right. So, does anyone have anything that they want to share with that whole thing there? Hold the topic, or we can move on to the next one, which they always need our consent to execute such agendas. Yeah, that's true. They really do. It's very true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to get our buy-in, and one good way to do that is to create an enemy and get everyone, and this is what the next topic is about, actually. Create an enemy, right? What was Werner von Braun's one of the last things that he said that the deep state was going to do? See if anyone gets that in the chat here. You need an enemy, right? Even when Reagan was saying things like, what would happen if the world was faced with a threat from outside the planet or outside the solar system, an alien threat? We would definitely come together then, right? So coming together with a common threat. So what I'm seeing right now in the news is all of these media companies and corporations covering the topic suddenly. I mean, they've always kind of like poked it with a stick here and there, but if you go just do a quick search, media pushing UFO stories recently. You've got like CNBC, CBS, you got the Today Show, you got NBC News, you got everybody talking about these leaked videos and different things, and they're posted just a few days ago or a month ago on that one, but a lot of these are just a couple of days ago. 60 Minutes is covering it. Navy pilot describes encounters with UFOs. There's all this stuff that they're preparing people for. What could it be? I think it's going to be the limited, they call it the limited hangout or the limited, the deep state slanted narrative on the subject, when half the stuff that we're seeing out there, we own it, definitely a distraction. Yeah, that's very true. All this is distraction, right? But there's more to this particular topic though than just a distraction, because this was supposed to be the end game, according to a lot of insiders. A lot of people are talking about this being the end game, right? The UFOs, saying that when they say that there's an alien threat, or that they start releasing all this information all at once, then this is like the last effort to distract against some of the more egregious things that are happening out there. So yeah, as you can see, there's all these different topics. So what I wanted to do though is to steer in this direction, but to show a couple of stories about UFOs that I had personal experience with. So there's a couple of people that are very close to me who are not into anything to do with conspiracy or UFOs or anything of that nature, are all of a sudden people that I would never think would even discuss the topic are discussing it. And this particular person lives in the city that I used to live in Pittsburgh. And he said, Rick, I woke up one day and this thing was hovering above my neighborhood and I don't know what it is. Like, can you tell me what this is? And I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty clear to me what that is, right? Does anybody recognize that particular craft? I'll zoom in on it a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not even showing the screen again. I need to get some help over here. Keep forgetting to switch over. Let me switch over to the browser. There you go. All right. So this is the one that they sent me the picture of this craft hovering. So you can see that there's power lines here. There's clouds, and it's obviously filtered through the clouds. So this is a legit picture. This person would not even have the skills to do anything like this or be involved in anything like that. They don't even like to talk about the subjects at all. So does anybody know what they think that might be? Let's zoom in a little bit more. I'll do the yeah, okay. Let's see if somebody is able to pick that out. Maybe not. There you go, the TR3B. That's right. You're the winner. I don't know what you win, but you win something. You win a chance to be correct. So if we scroll down a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the article. This is the article right here. So this is actually, I think I don't know if it was 2 years ago that the Navy released a patent on the TR3B or something similar. I don't know if they're calling it the TR3B, but it's actually the triangular craft that is designed exactly the way that that looks. So this could be, the government's way of slowly releasing information. This was during um, Trump's administration. So I wonder, like, is this part of the White Hats doing this, or is it, still part of the controlled narrative? I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely probably military, I would say. Definitely probably military. But yeah, it's interesting. So let's see if we can. I think this is an article. Let's go in here. Still here. Yeah, so here's all the different configurations. So you have the triangle, you have the double triangle, which people see. What in the heck? Okay. Lots of ads popping up here. Hopefully nothing weird will pop up. So we have. I guess I need a pop-up blocker on my browser. But anyway, so they have all these different plans and designs. They talk about the different shapes, and this is the famous video here where the Hornet was chasing the UFO. This is a leaked Department of Defense video of the F-18 Super Hornet and an unknown object. I don't know if folks have seen that. Have you guys seen that one? Let me see if folks have seen this already. I don't want to show it if you have. Put your seatbelts on. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep. Yeah, that's what I think it is. I really do. I think they're preparing us for that. Absolutely. Okay. Commercial. I'm not going to wait for that. Let's see what else we got here. And there's Nick Pope. Everyone knows Nick Pope, right? He was I think he worked in the UK as a investigator on the topic, on all the aerial phenomena. And I think he said something like, 75 to 85% of the cases were explainable, but there was that certain percentage they couldn't explain. They couldn't easily explain away. And that kind of makes sense. A lot of people see things and they don't know what it is, and it really turns out to be nothing. But anyway, so yeah, so there's that particular uh, UFO that someone sent me, and I have another one here somewhere, right here. So this particular story is the person that took the photo was working. They worked in a bar environment, and they were a manager, so they were up late, cleaning up. So I think this was like between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, when they finally get done with everything to leave to go home. And this was before COVID, so that's when places actually stayed open late. They saw this in the middle of the parking lot. I'll zoom in on this one too, kind of. And this has never been there before, so it's not like there was some kind of lights in the background here. They even did like a Google search to kind of look to see what was behind there, and there's not even any lights or anything that would have been shining up into the clouds to create something like this. And there's like an open field back there too, I believe. Well, it's actually mixed in, so it had spots that were open, but not open enough that would be this big. So yeah, that's just another common looking UFO that people see, right? Let's see what Joy has to say here. I think it's unlikely that the white hats are behind the recent disclosure events in the MSM. The spokespeople they are having speak up in the field appear to be connected back to the Rockefeller Initiative. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too. There was, if you look at that, all the people who are connected there, they're all of a sudden interested again. Although certain people, which I can't even like say their name because I'll probably get in trouble just from saying their name, are not even like you don't see them anywhere in the news anymore, which is highly bizarre. Like all those people that were against Trump's administration, no one has been saying anything, which is totally bizarre to me. Like that's how you know something has to be going on behind the scenes, you know, with this battle that's raging still. But I thought this was interesting. I thought both those UFO cases. This one is in Minnesota. The other one was in Pittsburgh. And so yeah, and then I have my own stories about seeing UFOs as well. So when I was in Pittsburgh, living there, I saw two UFOs, and I think one might have been military actually. What we got here? Let's see. Fast Company, Revolution, like it or not, Meat Company, Touring, White Houston. All right, let's see what that is. Don't know what this is. Let's see. Company Touring, Whitney Houston, Buddy Holly. Huh. I'll have to see what that is. Let's bring that. I don't know if I can get the link from there. Actually, I have to get it over here. Can't use the main chat window for that, so I have to refresh. Let's see what this is from Elise. There's the live. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, you must be on YouTube. Are you on YouTube? Let's see. If that's the case, I gotta go here. I don't know which one I got open, but that's it, right? Let's see. Make sure the sound is off. Yeah. Where's the chat? I guess I don't get a chat on this one. I thought I did. Oh, there it is over here. Oh, that's weird. I wonder why I don't see the link. How are you sending me a link? And I don't see it. Oh, maybe got to go into the full. It's not showing me the full list of comments. That's bizarre. Guess I got to go right into the comments section. No, that's not helping. Yeah, I think they actually see. It says 48 comments here. How many comments do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the rest of them? I have no idea. This is so bizarre. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but I think they're limiting our ability to communicate here. So let's see. Did you pass it to me in the? Nope. Okay, it's not there. Let's try that. Refresh one more time and see if that worked. Ah, it's not letting me do it. Huh. Well, I can't get you a link. I'm sorry. We won't be able to look at that because I can't actually take it out to copy it. Won't let me. Oops. All right. Anyway, so I have two of my own little stories there about living in Pittsburgh, and one was going out to dinner one night, and this had been after some other strange events that I can't tell the story yet because let's just say someday I'll tell that story. It's out there. So the story is that we went out to dinner and we're heading down this country road. It's like in a back road somewhere where, I mean, there's literally hardly anybody there. It's kind of like a shortcut to get to where we were going. And all of a sudden, I think it was just about 5 or 6 p.m., somewhere around there, around dinner time. And just up ahead on the left-hand side of the road, you could see this like massive, it looked like a stingray almost, like that stingray fish, it has the long wings on it, and it was just kind of like hovering above the tree line, moving very slowly over the tree line. And it had no markings on it at all. It was all gray, which to me made it look like it was some kind of military drone or something like that. And there was like a couple of jeeps coming around the corner frantically. It looked like they were like trying to keep people from going down certain roads. And they kind of came on our side of the road to kind of like slow us down a little bit. And then finally, this thing would progress out over the trees, and we weren't able to see it anymore. So then, probably like, I don't know, I think it was a week or two later, I was going home, same time of night. It was starting to get dark. I believe it was either in the fall. I think it was in the fall. Yeah, it was in the fall. like October time frame, and I'm just we lived at the top of a hill of this massive complex where it used to be like a mining area where they built all these mounds, and they built all this whole complex on top of this old mining area. They even had like old mining shafts that had to fill in and stuff. And some of the houses actually, they didn't do a good job filling them in. They actually started caving in. They had to rebuild them over again. That's how like fast they try to put these things up without actually doing the proper work. And I'm sitting there, and my friend lives all the way across the other end of this complex, like to the very back. This he actually had property before this whole complex was built out. So this thing started at his house and traversed the whole field of homes and ended up going right by my house and then off into the other woods behind me. And what it was like it was like an orange orb. Have you ever heard like people talk about the amber or orange orbs? These massive like this thing was probably I want to say 10 to 12 feet in diameter, and it was a big plasma ball, and it just traveled really slowly across the neighborhood over our things. And I was like, I hope I'm not the only one that saw that. And of course, I'm asking my neighbors across the street. None of them saw it because they weren't paying attention. They weren't out at the time. But my neighbor, who was across the way there, um, saw it too, and he's like, "Did you see that thing?" He calls me up, like, "Yeah, like what was that? Why did it like start at your house and end up at mine?" That's the most bizarre part of it. So I'm wondering if that was like to try and cover the other sighting. Let me switch back over to the thing. I was wondering if it was trying to cover the other sighting that I saw, so that if I tried to talk about this, and I'm saying, well, it started at my friend's house and ended up at my house, and it's like there's this other UFO. Like people think I'm crazy, right? So, and the more I talk about the subject, the more they can sort of try to discredit it. I think. Oh, you sent it in Messenger. Okay, let me go there. Let me go to Messenger and see what you got. Fast Company. All right, great, excellent. All right, so this would be a good topic too, I think. Let me switch back to the browser real quick. So that was my story about the orbs. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of something like that, but it was extremely interesting and hasn't happened again since. But what is this now? All right, I don't know if that's an ad or what that is, but okay, we got lots of pop-ups. So the hologram concert revolution is here, whether you like it or not. Meet the company touring Whitney Houston and Buddy Holly. Oh boy. Okay. Is this a supposedly a hologram of him right there? I don't even know what Buddy Holly looks like, to be honest with you. I never really was a follower. So maybe that looks like him. I don't know. What do folks think? Possible, right? So Coachella 2012 set to the internet ablaze when Snoop Dogg closed out his headlining set by bringing out a hologram of the rapper Tupac Shakur. Reactions range from creepy and to astonished, but the all entertainment veteran Martin Tudor could think was now what? They did two songs and that's it. Okay, says Tudor, whose extensive career has spanned doing lighting design for Broadway shows to running a talent management group and record label. You tease me, but now I want to see a show. So I guess this is the show here. Again, probably we'd be okay to play that, given that it's in the context of learning, right? We'll see. We'll see if they get this one taken down. Whoa, okay. Okay, all right. Yeah, well, I should have known better. We're gonna try and keep it clean, I guess, for now. But yeah, I get it. So what people saw on stage 7 years ago has actually been around for much longer, and in fact, what wasn't even a hologram. Tupac's performance was created by AV Concepts using CGI and the fundamentals of 19th century illusion called Pepper's Ghost. I never heard of that before. Madonna and Gorillas, and the Gorillas. Madonna and the Gorillas used it in the 2006 Grammys and did AI. Is that A? Oh, Al Gore. Sorry, I thought that was AI. I'm so used to looking at the term AI, but Al Gore in 2007 to kick off Tokyo's Live Earth benefit concert. However, the tutor saw it wasn't just some one-off gimmick. He believed there was a potential to tap into something deeper with audiences and develop a sustainable business model. People are clamoring for nostalgia, Tudor says. I thought it was pretty cool to be able to see people that I never saw in my life. That's that's what really dragged me in. Yeah, it's interesting, you know. Base Callus hologram demo. Oh, here we go. This is something. Let's see.
Base Hologram presents Callus in Concert, the Hologram Tour.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. I mean, it almost looks like you can see a little bit of like a green screen like effect up here, but I'm not sure if that's just lighting or what that is. But like right up in here, but that does look just like lighting though. Like they maybe just had it lighted wrong in the hologram. But what an amazing thing. It really is convincing. Yeah, and then you got to ask yourself: are they putting this kind of stuff out, showing the ability of animators to do this kind of stuff as a way to sort of protect themselves against anybody that might come out with an actual video of them doing something? Like that's another thing, right? Pretty sophisticated. Yeah, absolutely. Crazy stuff. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so I wonder. Okay. Lisa, are you chatting on Messenger completely? Because if that's the case, then I have to actually monitor that as well. Let me just see. Oh, no, that's not it. That shouldn't be coming through on the GetEsoteric line, though. I don't think. It's kind of weird. But anyway, I'll figure all this technical stuff out eventually. All right, so that's interesting. What else do we have here that we want to talk about? I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about this evening in this hour. So if there's anything else that folks want to talk or elaborate on, um, feel free to do so in the chat and we can bring it up, or you can dial in and we can have a conversation. If not, we'll probably end it there. I'll give folks a few minutes if they want to expand on anything. Let's see here. Back to private. I just wonder why this isn't showing all 53 comments. That's kind of annoying. Like it should show everything there, I would think. Very bizarre. I have to figure out why that's like that, because I want to be able to see all the comments that are in there as I'm going through. And I can get them here, but I can't, like, for whatever reason in the main chat window, I don't have the ability to click on links. It doesn't let me do that. Huh. All right, whatever. So let's see. I'll join the PC next time to have full experience. Yep. Okay, that'll be great. That'll be fantastic. Thanks for joining this evening, folks. If folks don't have anything else they want to bring up, I will probably end it there. So let's go. Where's my exit here? All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a night then. We'll see you next time, folks. And get esoteric. Talk to you later.